Greetings, this is Zaxtol here, the author of Spectrum Green. Well, author of all Spectrum. Green is just the latest version. And here is a behind-the-scenes video of how I develop Spectrum on a roughly daily basis. Spectrum's going to be out on the 10th of June, hopefully, cross fingers. And if this is a developer video just going through how I make a mod, there won't be actual any in-game footage here. If you're more interested in that, Derava, D-E-R-A-V-A, is actually doing his own gameplay streaming of Spectrum Green. He got exclusive access, seeing as he streamed it when I was still mucking around in yellow. I think he's one of the only ones that has. So if I can figure out, I'm going to put a link on the front page for you, so you can click that and have a look if you'd rather look at some gameplay rather than me rambling on and looking at spreadsheets. Can you see it? Well, anyway, if you can't, there's a link in the description. So here you say, how do I make a mod? Well, the answer for Spectrum is a humongous amount of trial and error. Seriously, I've put in about 18 months and about over 1,300 hours into this mod, so yeah, not for someone who actually has a life. So the first thing we need is the actual software development kit. This is the XCOM SDK that came with XCOM 2, and you can get it in the Steam tool section, I think, if you've bought XCOM 2. So just as a rough overview, you get config values, generally what you see here on the screen, a variable and then a value on the right hand side. I think these are like structured arrays or something. The damage values, same for each weapon. So, and then what I do is link that in the script later. I'll show you where they are. But these allow me to edit them, you to edit them if you went into the file folder without having to unlock the script and change it manually in there. And there's a lot. I figured out renaming the folders and such allows me to keep it organized, because there's hundreds and hundreds of different variables to keep organized. There's a lot of different ones: character stats, numeric health display, my enemy stats, utility stats. It goes on forever. These are the packages. A lot of them are the long war ones that Pavonus allowed me to use. Some are my own. And there's also the mercenary plasma rifle, and other packages other modders have allowed me to use. So, and to access these packages, you'll have to use the Unreal Editor. I'll show you here. This is the Unreal Editor, and in Content Browser you can open, import, export all these different image files. So we've got the old school class codebreaker stuff, soldiers. I went eventually with a more colourful scheme, mainly because I could just never get that colour just right, and it always looked a little bit odd, so I said, sod it, make it massively weird and colourful, and I won't have to bother with it. See, you can have features that come from problems. These are the dark events and whatnot, and to get these from something like this, I tend to use paint.net, which I'm just opening up now. This is a nice little free editing program, which I've included some extra plugins that you can download from forums and such dedicated to paint.net, which allow you to do some smart things, especially with the textures and such. You can actually extract entire channels. If I just wanted to extract the red or extract the green or extract the blue from a certain textures, because they use them as a very extreme, I think it's a masks, yeah, masks. They use it like every blue is shining the emissive colour, every red is metal, every green, and so on and so forth, which has helped me immensely in creating the Aegis and such, which had glowing. I'll show you this one. So that's how I managed to add the glowing to all these, is changing the masks. Otherwise it would have been impossible. I'd have to actually load up a 3D modeler, which I have no experience with, so just messing around with the texture files and such in paint.net is all I do. And here's a 32 by 32 pixel art of the new Alien Overlord perk, which is part of RoboJumper's another F1 mod, which I realised a lot of my enemies' abilities and whatnot didn't have any text or icons, so I've been making them up recently. So let's go back to the development kit. So that was the packages. A lot of it is 3D models that I've taken from other modelers, because I can't do anything like that. And quite a bit of it is me retexturing, rechanging different values for shininess, color, palette, things like that. As you may notice, a lot of my Advent soldiers are either extra shiny, darker, coloured, different variants. And here's the localization area. This is literally what tells the software what to call everything. And we use localization because depending on what language setting you got, you want different words for the same thing. So ever vigilant, if it's in English, uses this. If it's in French, it'll use a completely different value. Once I've got it translated, that is a completely different project that's coming along slowly but surely. And here we have the actual script. A lot of this is cut and paste and just changing a database of values, like you saw in my config files. And this is what makes the mod tick. So a lot of mine is, they like the grenade mod script. Goes in, it says after all the templates have been created with the mod installed, go through, find a grenade launcher, do all these changes, find advanced grenade launcher, do all these changes. These ones I allow it to be built directly, not upgraded through schematics. So it's adding on all the extra values we need, just ally cost, delirium core. These are all config files that are changed from the actual configs we showed upstairs. And once this is all done, it changes this thing, changes all the settings, and say these are the new settings. Okay, so that's just a lot of scripts. To keep my head all around this, I tend to use a few organizational tools, which is Trello. This I've used for a long time now. So after I released Spectrum and started going into green, I started doing a lot of to-do lists within a to-do list within a to-do list. Yep, to-do listception. Sometimes I've had to go even deeper. So there we go. These are to-do lists I've done miles ago. So it's like remove these suits, remove that, fix that, change the values. And these are all the ones I've managed to complete. Anytime I think of something, I can just access this on my phone at work and add on a few extras here and there. So this is currently what I've just released in version 7. That's currently getting tested on closed beta, and Derava should be using that next time he runs and starts recording his episodes. He's a little bit ahead, so whenever I make a change, he's got about 3 or 4 episodes in before his changes actually affect him. Today what we're going to do is create advanced armors tech. What has been shown to me is that as soon as you get plated armor, well, there's only really 2 armor techs, and with about 12, no wait, it's about 18 weapon techs. The 2 armor techs really stand out as having barely taking any time at all to develop. So what I'm doing is, at the beginning, I'm going to go through adding an extra tech and then linking the plated armors, which aren't the basic Predator armor, to these techs. So you'll have adding the spider suit and the exosuit and the new rhino suit. All those 3 armors, instead of using plated armor, we'll now use advanced armor. Oh yes, Google Drive. Okay, so I've just forgot. I also use Google Drive as storage of all the information I use. So I kind of neglected this a bit recently, but I still use it as my go-to database for all the weapons values of Spectrum. So here we have the damage table. So here's the base damage you have. This is basically a conventional assault rifle. And then we have all the modifiers down here of what actually happens to the weapons as they change. And then I've got the total values and calculated values at the bottom. So we go to a new sheet and they're all there. The green ones tend to be the post-calculated ones, so this one loses an extra pierce with every tier level, and this one gains extra damage with every tier level. That's for the shotgun unique, and the pistol generally doesn't increase in damage on the same level as everything else. And then we upgrade to ally, and then we see the pistol is 8 damage instead of 9, because it's still being pulled in with the tier level. And the shotgun is shooting off into the sunset and pierces swimming in deep ocean as -7. That's how I do it. Just made up some calculations and formulas and whatnot, and so it makes it much easier to make some changes and splash it out into the config files as I need to. Recording this session, I'm using OBS. This is here. OBS Studios is very useful. That's what I've been using to record all my trailers and such. So yeah, you can get that. All these programs, apart from actually all of them are free as long as you've bought XCOM 2, and that's only the X2 editor and the X2 software development kit I believe you need to buy. So that's a brief overview of all the programs. I've also got Discord, which I use to have a chat with my testers, as there's a special Discord server for Spectrum itself. And also I go on Reddit and stay active somewhat there. And there's also the Steam Workshop page of the mod itself. Generally keep up to date on there, to look at the feedback, ask questions. Generally haven't had great many testers historically, but with Derava streaming, then it's getting a lot more useful information, and they can see an entire campaign being played. I personally rarely ever play my own mod, as I'd notice a slight problem with it, fix that problem, and have to restart my campaign all over again. It gets annoying sometimes. So I'm just going to go through. Okay, so I'm just going to go through how to create this advanced armor tech. So I'm not going to go through the advanced power armor, because I'm going to need to create a new tech for every type. And with that, I also want to create extra variants and make each one very special and unique and powerful. So I can put And with the new, instead of them all being unlocked by a single tech, that allows me to give you basic superpower armor, and then give you advanced superpower armor as long as you invest in the tech costs that come with it. Then you can start building your own wraith suits and arsenals, bastions. What was there? Wraith, Swift, Blitz, something like that. Yeah, make fancy names for them. And they'll be super powerful, giving you things like extra heavy ammo, ridiculous power, ridiculous accuracy, instant maneuverability, stealth, things like that. Just overpowered because they'll be like tier 3.5, and you'll need them for the tier 4.5 enemies I'll make on the final missions. Hopefully they're all balanced, but as it gets that far into the game, you'll need to take a risk and probably save scum on the final 2 missions. Okay, so first step first, let's find something that we've already made that is very similar. Let's see. Actually, you know what? I'm going to find the actual there we go, the actual tech. So what I just did was I've already bookmarked the classes. Classes is your like script. So script folder, the config folder, and the localization folder of the actual game. So what I tend to do is just go, alright, open it up. And here it is, the script for all the default techs. And if I search for plated, we've got create plated armor, and then they've got the plated armor function. So here we go, so it's very simple. It's saying here's the function, run this function. That function is added in the top. It says create this template, points to complete, that's how long it takes to research. Sorting tier is what tier it's in for organizing it top to bottom. The image for what's displayed and what's required to actually research it, and the costs. So what I want to do is I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go into this here, and I'm just going to slap it at the bottom. Actually not at the very bottom, those are my developer only text. These green ones, these double slashes, they're like comment sections, so ignore these. So advanced plated armor, just so I know what it is. So create advanced plated armor. I think that's really good. Actually, I know I've got plated armor in my modded, no experimental armor, plated armor, there we are, modded it up. So what it takes is 5 armors, and it gives a random medium plated armor as a reward, and oh yeah, and the Titan mech chassis you can get from Gatecrasher actually makes the tech instant. So what I want to do, medium plated armor. Generally my philosophy in these technology ones is to take the basic item and have it as a cost item. So you get given one for free, but you could put it back into advanced plated armor and tweak it to make it your own. So what I want here is have the medium plated armor and the item, and I'm going to have 1 armor plate as a resource. Where's that? Tech mod, there we go. Oh, there we go. quantity 1. So this is a bit of a cheat, as I'm not even adding it as a config that can be changed later. I'll probably do that in a sec. So that's that. Advanced plated armor, I'll keep the same image, and requires plated armor, of course. If you didn't require plated armor, required hybrid materials, they'd both be unlocked at the same time. Whereas this one is plated armor first, and then advanced plated armor afterwards. And this is going to be pointless unless we actually go into the items as well and require them to need advanced plated armor. Oh yes. God, again, I need to take even more. So research completed function, medium plated armor. Whereas this one is actually going to be heavy plated armor and light plated armor. As possible rewards. Only picks one of them. So if you did this, I'm going to have it. There's a new item I made called the grapple gun. Items new. Just gonna check to see what the reference code is for the grapple gun. That's just called grapple gun. No space. So resources. So what we're going to do, I'm going to say, right, grapple gun 1, then medium plated armor. And you know I'll order it, so it's plated armor first. There we go. So this one simply say resources, medium plated armor, add 1, then add the resources to the template. Then it repeats it, then it changes it to grapple gun, adds 1, adds it to resources, changes it to ally and ally. That's not armor plates is what we want. It's all the way at the top here. There we go. Armor is armor plates. Armor plates. And we only want 1 because they're rare. So what this says is what we need is to take one of the armors while we're researching it, costs an extra grapple gun armor plate, and then we should pop out one of these heavy plated armors or light plated armor. And if you don't get the other one or the either one, you'll still be able to build all the advanced ones anyway. So that's that. And because it's an advanced variant and isn't really a change in tier level, I'm thinking just giving it slightly less time to build. Taking that out of my ass really, so I'll tweak that and have a look at it when I see what kind of time scale it actually gives. And I'll definitely sort out the tier later. Because I use a tier system. Let's have a look. Tech. There we go. So now I'm just browsing the tiers. Oh, there we go. Armor tier. So default top armor tier. There you go, so it automatically picks up the armor tier as its sorting tier. So all the psionics are grouped together, all the armors are grouped together, all the weapons are grouped together. That's the plan anyway. So they shouldn't have an absolute mess of colour scheme if it was organised alphabetically or anything like that. Okay, so that looks fairly fine to me. I generally find out I've messed something up if I debugged it. So now oh yes, completely forgot. Let's create advanced armor template. I have to actually add it in here to the add text, or else it will just ignore that. There we go. Or else it will completely ignore that function and won't create the template. And when we come to changing the armors, they will have a non-existent requirement, and either they'll be available immediately or they'll never be available ever, and we don't want that. So it's now armor modding time. I've also created my own extra armor. Armor new. So here we go, we've got the extra Kevlar, light, defensive and super defensive, and the Advent civilian disguises. So defensive plated armor. What we should have here is a requirement of plated armor. We should change that to advanced plated armor. And that's the only change we'll need. And these are all the costs and everything else about this defensive armor. What I've made is generally 4 different types. Apart from Kevlar, they only have like 3. You've got the light armor, the heavy armor, which brings heavy weapons, standard armor. It's the first thing you get and is cheaper than the rest usually. And then you get the defensive armor, which really cripples your maneuverability and defense and dodge, but really gives you an insane amount of health and armor. Okay, so armor mod now. So this is the mod I have, which says find this armor. Oh, this is script. Generally I have armor mod. I've actually made my weapon mod script so big it actually crashed the compiler. It's something like 64 kilobytes or something insane. So I've had to split it into DLC and non-DLC script for weapons. So this armor mod, so this one says find Kevlar, clear out its EUI bonus, then add a health bonus for the value I've given its health, set a UI armor bonus for the armor I've given it, then add the ability. This is what actually gets the effect of extra stats and such. Spectrum medium Kevlar armor stats, and that uses the same medium Kevlar HP, medium Kevlar armor values, and also adds the utility slot, depending if this value in the config is true or false. So yeah, it goes through all of them, and this light plated armor and such, I have to change to advanced. There we go. Same thing for, not for medium plated armor, that's one that wants basic plated armor functionality, and let's change this to advanced as well. Okay, I've changed the items so they require this new tech. I've created the new tech, assigned the image. The only thing missing now is localization, or else it'd just be a blank thing with no text on it. It has happened a lot. Localization is generally my weakest suit. So this one's technology. So salvaging Illyrium, proving grounds. I think I've got. Do I have plated armor on here. There we go, plated armor. So yeah, I've changed the colors, make it easier to understand if you get loot, what they actually add and can be used for. So let's add, I've already created our advanced plated armor localization for English. So there we go. Oh, I forgot to add the colors. There we go. And make sure I cancel the font on the first line. There we go. So advanced plated armors, advanced armors, armor tech. The next logical step, blah 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 blah. Yeah. So once you research this, let's go back to armor new. Not armor new, tech new. So there we go. I believe it's all ready. And once I'm happy with the results, I can just press debug, start debug. And oh yes, it has a hissy fit if the editor is actually open. So I'll close that down. Don't save, I probably messed something up. Now we're starting to debug. Word of warning, I have generally over like 100 and odd warnings for Spectrum. I should clear that out before I say it's ready for release. Haven't seen any bugs come from it, but RoboJumper would probably slap me if he saw how many warnings I've gotten. So that should be compiling. If I've made a mistake or something, probably misspelled or something, it will usually warn me at the bottom here with an error. Otherwise, it'll crash my game as soon as I try loading it. Or actually, in the case of like localization, go all the way through and just not be there when people try to play the game. Every time I debug the game, it takes ages. But I generally don't know how to make it any faster or debug it or hotcode it or anything like that. I'm quite a muppet when it comes to programming. This kind of script, which is just adding things to a template or object, is pretty much all I can do. I think the most advanced thing I did was redesign regeneration health for shields and create a cap so you can regenerate shields above a certain amount. Recently I was told that if you actually had the shield bearer added up, it would actually reduce it back to its max. So even though it temporarily had, say, 8 HP, it would always reduce it back to 5 the instant the regeneration kicked in. So that's kind of the things I have to fix and deal with. So I'm just going to enable yet another F1 and then hideously cheat to see if it comes up. So yeah, one of the ones I want to do is just check that another F1 mod is working and make sure the advanced armor tech is working as intended. Generally I tend to do several things at once because of how long it takes to pile this up. So what I'm loading up is the debug mode, which has its own developer warning system and extra tools. So this generally pops up every time Don't think it's anything to do with my mod, so I've ignored it. But generally, if I've made a single error with the XCOM missions.ini, the one that controls all the faction system, because it's copy and pasted so much, it tends to fill up the entire screen, and I have fun trying to find the issue. Probably just a single misspelled or missed comma, and it destroys everything. Okay, so strategy. Debug non-cheat. Still lets me cheat though, if I know it just doesn't start with 200 of everything. Oh yeah, just go in, accept. What I have found is a bug in the game. It's probably my mod, or UI on my mod. If I let it just red screen message last too long, I won't actually be able to get out of the Sky Ranger view. So I'd just be stuck there with 4 people going, we've beaten Gatecrasher, and that continue button here just fails to appear. So yeah. Yeah, here's my new perk tree. Well, I say tree, it's more like grid. And we've got an armor plates, drone Rex. Wow, we've got a ton of armor plates for the drone mission. Wow, seriously got lucky there. Yeah, they got enough armor plates to actually do the tech. So add, give tech plated armors. Okay, so we've got given the tech, refresh it, go back in. So there we go, advanced armors. 1 predator armor, 1 grapple gun, 1 armor plate. Next logical step. Yeah, that little looks nice. Well, I probably should add unlocks advanced armors, but I'm assuming people will understand. Something to add. Let's just build a. So we can build the. Yeah, leave that in. I hate messing around with the DLC. It's a pain in the ass. So we can build a predator armor if we add the alloys, and reinforced frames. So the 3 of those are now hidden behind this. So let's give it the grapple gun. Give ourselves a ton of scientists. Whoops. There we go. Reinforced frame. Okay, I accidentally did the tech twice, so it would probably give me 2 plated armors. So let's predator armors. So let's just research this. It'll only be done in 4 days. And if it's all working as intended, I'll get 1 of the armors and be able to build the other 3.
We can pass time by scanning at sites like this one. On your order, we'll start our scans on the surrounding area.
So there we go. New item availables. Rhino suit, spider suit. And because the exosuit didn't pop up, I'm assuming I've already got it in my armory. There we go. The exosuit. Then we also got the predator armor. And I'll just show off the nice Kevlar armor and whatnot. These are all different values, apart from the resistance and light, because you might not have the resistance DLC, so there's always the light armor. And there's looted Advent armor, which is just standard Kevlar with the Advent disguise bonus. And civilian disguise, which gives a extremely good stealth bonus. However, you get absolutely nothing, no protection whatsoever, no mobility bonus, no dodge bonus, because you have to pretend to be a civilian. And it's not really, probably wearing jeans and such, so kind of constricts you a bit. Okay, let's go to engineering and just see if we can build our new armors. Well, there they are, unlocked. And we just converted one Predator armor into a exosuit at the cost of using a grapple gun and yeah, I should look at that. Spider suit, 60 supplies, whereas the grapple gun 75 supplies. I think I'll reduce the grapple gun to 50. Make it more sensible. So these are all individually built, so it's not like you can kit out the entire force. With Predator armor, once you researched it, you need to get a ton of armor plates for that, and allies. There's also text that if you don't loot enough armor plates, you can spend allies to make them yourself. So yeah, that's I just did that just now, and you watched. That's how I generally do it. So I would go to Trello. Now that I've confirmed that it's working. Anyway, clothing. Save it all. Seeing as it's all working, I can now publish the changes to the just press update existing mod and it will update it. There is a slight issue with Steam Workshop in which your mod description is never saved and you're constantly overwriting it. So I generally have to go in here, edit title description. While this window is open, upload it in the developer kit and then press save after the fact, probably changing the title somewhat and then going to the change notes. And there's a lot of tweaking around under the scenes to actually add tags in, because you've got to do it after you've pressed published, then alter a text file, then publish again once you've altered it. So, yep. So these are like the change notes I tend to update. These are all the ones I've done since I released the trailer. There was Face Off is overpowered at the moment, so I'm going to have to increase that further up the promotion tree. But while Dav is doing his streaming, I'm going to wait until his Desperado is configured just right so I can change the abilities. And because if he's got both the abilities I'm changing and swapping around, it shouldn't cause any bugs. And he'll tell me when that's happening. Okay. Yeah, so yep, I've just added a tech level, and I think that's all I've got time for. Well, all I can think of at the moment. I have rambled on for some bit. I'm just going to talk to myself for a bit while I think about this. Is there anything I've missed? Well, tons. But I think you've got a nice overview of how I do things. Oh yes. Okay. Before I forget, I was going to say, it's not very well organized if I haven't mentioned. I've actually created the armor tech. So, do a tech list. Advanced armors. And then we've got powered armors. So now, just got a half done. So I've done advanced armors. Now it's time to do powered armors like Swift, I think, Bastion. Each one is going to have their own individual one, so that's tier 3.5 or 4. Each one costs a lot to develop it, and you probably won't want to put on everyone because they'll have very big strengths and big weaknesses. Like if I had Bastions on everyone would have like minus 30 defense or something. They'd have a lot of armor and health, but there are some units that will ignore the armor or shred it to pieces and you will be exposed because they'll be balanced with hardly being able to hit anyone except people in Bastion armor and Sparks. So yeah, you'll be incredibly strong against most, but incredibly weak against some of them. Swift Bastion, I'll come back to it later, but you get the idea. So once I finish with that, I'll then change it from testing to balanced and put it in beta 8, ready for people to, well, test and balance it. So just going through my wish list, it's translate to languages. Buff Julian, I've been told that's because I haven't changed or actually done the Lost Towers mission. Julian is really weak compared to everyone else, especially with some of the abilities I've got that can pierce through shields. So I'm going to have to change that out or increase his health. I think there's a placeholder for some of the weapons. Instead of going to an advanced weapon, I just added on armor piercing ammo, so I need to fix that and remove that. I just want to change conceal slightly, the way it works, so that you have more functionality with going a stealth build than just having it once and going back to it again once. If I can keep it, probably cost a turn, a bit like Hunger Down, where it's just a 3-turn cooldown, no limit, but costs an action and ends your turn. So you can't just immediately go reconceal, shoot, reconceal, shoot. Oh, shoot from concealment, reconceal, shoot. But you can constantly reconceal on large maps and big missions. And here's some AI, some extra characters, some new icons I'll have to design with Paint.net, and some AI I'll have to tweak in the config files. And then we've got some post-release, the Crusader, Wraith, Ragnarok. These are the armors I was talking about. I want to make new ones, but I'll just make the powered armor, advanced armor at the moment. And then after green is released, or if I've got tons of spare time, do that. So I've got tons of wish lists and not a huge amount of time or skill. Some of these are really limited by my skill because I can't program for shit. Okay, I hope you enjoyed me rambling on and on. And if you've got any questions, leave them below in the comments section and rustle up some answers. I hope you enjoy Spectrum once it's released. And just a reminder, there is De Ava is streaming the gameplay footage of Spectrum Green, so I should have a link for you right now. If it still doesn't work, there is a link in the description. Alright, toodles, and I'll see you later.